everyone, and welcome to the Capital Compass, the podcast designed to help you navigate your journey to value in capital equipment planning and procurement. Joining me is Mike Kolp, Associate Principal from Vizient Capital Equipment Solutions team, who will share how health systems are using capital spend insights to unlock smarter, faster, and more strategic decisions. We're taking a closer look at Capital Spend Insights, which is a powerful new solution that brings data-driven intelligence to your sourcing decisions. Whether you're navigating decentralized purchasing, benchmarking spend, or trying to align capital budgets system-wide, this tool was built to transform how your organization approaches capital planning. I'm Susan Edwards, Marketing Communications Manager for Vizient Capital Equipment Solutions, and I'm delighted to be your host. Mike, great to be with you today to talk about Capital Spend Insights. We have spent a little bit of time talking about Capital Spend Insights and trying to share all of the great transformational things that it has done for our clients. Happy to have you in the studio today to share a little bit more about what makes it so special. Let's talk about the why behind Capital Spend Insights. There was need that had bubbled up through Capital Equipment Solutions experience. So set the stage, tell us all about that.
It's great to be here. The journey started 7 years ago. Our clients, as they renewed their membership, were always asking questions about capital benchmarking. And unfortunately, we would have to say we didn't have anything at the time. Rebecca Gaten, our senior principal over the business unit, started the journey to look at benchmarking from a capital perspective years ago. It really started to take hold after COVID. That was the journey that they've been on, knowing that there is an opportunity in this space to provide benchmarking to our clients. The tool itself was very unique from a standpoint of we're the only benchmarking platform that's attached to a GPO. That's important to understand because of the data sets that we use are unique in the marketplace versus our competitors.
Let's talk about some of the industry overarching trends that made it important for people to have benchmarking and price data solutions at their fingertips for capital procurement. What was happening?
From a procurement standpoint, when you think of capital, there's all these different configurations and it becomes more challenging as you put configurations together. From a standpoint of having a tool in place that provides that directional benchmarking from a procurement standpoint, it's extremely important, especially when you are talking about the amount of spend when you talk about capital. You're not talking about med-surg products. You're talking large capital pieces of equipment that are millions of dollars and sometimes tens of millions of dollars. We're working on a current engagement right now, and you're talking $200-300 million of medical capital equipment. Getting inside of what that true value is that supplier is offering you is critical to make sure that the value is achieved. Those are things start to make sure that our clients are receiving the best value based on the GPO and the national agreements that we have in place.
How is that visibility traditionally exposed in the capital procurement process, and how does the Capital Spend Insights tool change that?
What we've been doing historically was a quote review. We'd get a supplier quote, review it from a standpoint of what's the minimum that you're receiving from our national agreements? Is the price matching or the T's and C's, which would be freight, shipping, warranty, and so forth. Those are the base level things. As you move forward from a Capital Spend Insights, we're doing those things, but from a true benchmarking aspect of things, what is others in the market paying? That way you can get a feel for, am I getting a good value based off of this particular supplier quote as well?
Let's talk about that quote review process. What was the process prior to Capital Spend Insights? How did that work, and how does Capital Spend Insights make that different?
There was an email box. You submitted your quote. We would pick it up. We would review it and send you a report back. Nothing dynamic about it, but it provided good value from a GPO identified savings perspective. Capital Spend Insights, it's a web-based platform. It's uploading your own quotes yourself. So you have a dashboard so you can see what's in progress, in a sense of what I've submitted, what's being completed. That way it's interactive just from a standpoint of that initial step to start our process. What we refer to as quote insights report provides that full view from a report standpoint. It's very interactive. There's dynamic metrics in there powered by Power BI. So you can slice and dice the data further based off of the quote that you submitted. from what we used to do to where we are today are many light years ahead. And there's many other things that we're going to be adding from a feature perspective as well. That's going to be unique to the market just based on us being situated from a GPO standpoint with Vizient.
Let's talk about how this compares to what's available in the marketplace from other competitors.
We probably have done well over 100 demos this year so far. That is deep dives with a lot of clients on the call or individuals as well. We like to provide a framework around the data source that's critical for our clients and customers out there that are using our competitors, because our data set is around verified purchases. What was actually transactioned in the market versus regular quote data. Our competitors are receiving supplier quotes just like we are today, but when they receive a benchmark, their report is based off of quote data. What are other quotes that are happening in the market that they can benchmark that particular quote that client submitted, or if I submitted directly myself? The difference is what was quoted in the market, they are benchmarking off of that versus we're benchmarking off of verified purchases. Think of it last price paid of information so that you can understand, am I getting the best value based on my current situation with this supplier in this particular quote today?
That sounds like that could be a significant dollar amount when you're looking the difference between a quote and an actual price paid.
In our system, you'll be able to see what's the market bearing from receiving a quote versus same supplier, same product, what is actually being paid. And you can see the delta between those two. And that's extremely important. That's value that hasn't been recognized in the past because there hasn't been a platform out there like ours since November 1st of last year.
That's interesting. Tell us about the ability or lack thereof doing the same process, but with non-contracted items.
Even though we're attached to Vizient as a GPO, we are still able to benchmark against non-contracted suppliers. The data set that we're pulling from is all transactional data that all our members are doing on a monthly basis. It doesn't separate contracted suppliers versus non-contracted suppliers. So if a client or multiple clients of ours are actually buying off contract and there's data in there, we'll be able to benchmark that as well. It's just a fact of a purchase, not from a contract or off contract perspective.
Can you describe how Capital Spend Insights works alongside or in tandem with the other Vizient data solutions?
Supply analytics, purchase services, just to name a few of the spend management solutions, they are pulling from the same data set that we are. It's a process that we call automated data submission, ADS. This is all the transactional data that comes in. We normalize it. Each of these solutions are basically pulling those unique identifiers based off of, for us, capital. Purchase services would be that service aspect of things. And supply analytics, that's more of the med-surg, larger volume perspective. For our solution, we're pulling out verified capital transactions from that data set, which is basically AP spend and PO and invoice data as well.
It sounds like this solution is not only a data solution, but it's a strategic decision helper.
From a strategy perspective, the way that the tool is built, you can look at quantities. That's what we default to, your quantity coming across. Sometimes you're not just buying a one unit of a ultrasound machine or whatever it might be. You're potentially looking at quantities of 6, 7, whatever it might be. From a strategy standpoint, being able to look at the benchmarking from a quantity makes it impactful, especially when you're looking at line item detail. That's important because the way that the platform is built is making sure that from a capital perspective, there's a lot of different configurations. There could be 10, 12 different pieces that are added to that piece of equipment to understand what are you being charged by line item, because suppliers like to bundle everything and say you're buying X and your price is $3 million, but you don't have insight to that line item detail of those costs. We require line item detail because that's how the platform is built, and you can see the benchmarking for each of those line items. When you do that, you can see where those drivers are from a strategy standpoint of where you can save additional dollars when you're procuring capital equipment.
It sounds like those details can add up to a lot of dollars when they become visible.
Absolutely. That is identifying those savings. If you think of a benchmarking tool, it's very directional. You're taking that information and now you're going to take what you're seeing and take it to the next step, most likely going back to a supplier and asking for additional percentage points off based off of what you're seeing in our tool, but then also going back to that line item detail of those quantities potentially. I can get additional 5 points off of this, and that adds up to a lot of value from a true savings perspective.
You mentioned that this has been in operation since November of last year, so we're coming up on a year.
Yes,
congratulations.
Super excited about that.
You guys went through a significant piloting process and you had some clients lined up to help provide insights and feedback around the tool. Give us an update of where those clients are today and how many of those are now full-fledged subscribers and how are they using the tool most effectively in their organizations today?
We had about 10 different members in our pilot program, which equated to roughly 28, 30 different users, all different shapes and sizes. And it was around providing us insight of anything, certain colors, functions, from a metric standpoint. Does it make sense? Is this actionable for you to now go to the next step from a procurement standpoint? Out of those 10, we roughly have over 60% of those that have signed up. Some of the challenge, what we're facing is they're potentially in agreements with our competitors. This tool is definitely a complete replacement. And so those other organizations are working through those challenges too, is to say, hey, how can we have potentially both of these tools because they're very different?
With the clients that are using Capital Spend Insights today, do you see any common types of projects that got them interested in using this tool in the first place?
From a base level perspective, the contract comparison, which we refer to as more of a GPO compliance, are you getting the base price that a supplier is offering or the T's and C's? There's many times that we provide examples. There was a live example with one of our clients that submitted a quote. The quote was 1 year warranty, but the national agreement was 5-year warranty. They didn't get that visibility. There was 4 years that warranty could have been missed. Then you think of how many times is that happening within my organization today? Because there's many different users. You got supply chain, you have folks in IT, lab that are potentially making procurement decisions as well. How many times is that happening in your organization that you're missing that value that you should be required to receive because you're attached to the GPO from a Vizient standpoint as well? From a standpoint of the benchmarking, the line item detail has been critical because no other organization is doing that currently. What we understand is our competitors will even benchmark off of bundles, which we don't think that's the best practices. Suppliers like to hide pricing and value within those bundles. And by doing line item, it really brings things to light from a directional standpoint as well.
What kind of common threads do you see between the GPO compliance component and the pull-through of budget alignments? Are there any connective tissue or transparency between those two pieces?
When we think of clients or membership models, there are drivers from a value perspective. So if you think of a admin fee, there's a share back that happens based on those purchases. If a client is not getting the base price or the value that a national supplier is offering, they're not maximizing their membership with us. When you think of a budget, we do a contract opportunity review, which is basically aligning those budget items or a equipment list to our national agreements to show them what the opportunity is from a procurement standpoint, and also showing them opportunities from a group buy or a capital commit sourcing activity. With all these things lead back to that GPO compliance piece. So all these other pieces of our solution, we use Capital Spend Insights to support the visibility just from our own team when we're working in programs or on behalf of a member.
Let's talk about the broader Vizient capital ecosystem. There's a lot of things happening under the capital equipment solutions umbrella. Help our clients understand where capital commit and strategic sourcing, how those elements are connected into Capital Spend Insights.
When we're doing those monthly for our clients around Capital Spend Insights, we always take the first 5-10 minutes and talk about our capital equipment solution overall to show where does Capital Spend Insights sit? How does it support our entire solution? not externally for our clients, but also internally for our own team. When we're talking about capital commit, this is a program that's building a cohort around a particular modality, let's say beds or patient monitoring or so forth. We're using capital spend insights to verify the value that the supplier is offering us based on building this cohort of, instead of me going out and buying 5 beds or you buying 10 beds, we're basically aggregating all this spend together and going to the market potentially with 700-800 beds. Are we getting the best value? Capital spend insights will give that information to us based off of that verified purchases data set. We provide a min and a max and also an average. And the average is typically what we truly benchmark off of, so you can actually see what that additional value would be. But from a capital commit perspective, it's wanting to get the best value based on the volume of spend coming through for those quantity of beds. When we look at strategic sourcing, they're taking that tool and working in an engagement with a potential large project. Maybe it's a tower that's being built. So you're talking another volume of spend coming through. We want to make sure that the volume of spend coming through for a particular project from a strategic sourcing standpoint is being maximized, so that way we can recognize that value based off of that engagement for that client as well. The entire team is utilizing the tool in the same manner, but in a sense of different aspects based off of their day-to-day operations to support our clients.
I have a tremendous envy to be able to have tools at your fingertips that will help you with the visibility and the insights that you're looking for to make the decisions that you need to make, especially when you put yourself in the position of, this is my checkbook that I'm buying these things. You want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make the smartest decisions. And it sounds like Capital Spend Insights helps take a lot of that pressure off.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about the upgrades. We're almost a year in and know how data solutions work. There's always an update, an upgrade available. Talk to us how that works with Capital Spend Insights, where you are with making new improvements and enhancements for the solution.
We were just talking about that yesterday with all the new enhancements for 2026. With the technology, there's always enhancements. You're never done. You're always trying to improve it, make it better. For Capital Spend Insights, there is a roadmap that will be very unique to the GPO standpoint. From a standpoint of group buy, we talked about is group buy is going to be incorporated into that platform as well. So that way, when a supplier quote comes through, it'll be identifying, is there a current group buy that's happening to make sure that that client is receiving the best value based on the group buy. That's one aspect of things. We're including FDA recall on that as well. Some of our competitors have that. So that's something that we're going to be adding this year. We're going into 2026 planning from a roadmap perspective. Some areas that we're looking at is around market insights, understanding if I'm buying a particular product, potentially what is everybody else in the Vizient universe from a membership standpoint, what are they buying as well, just to get a perspective of, hey, is 60% of the members buying this, what type of configuration. So it provides a little bit more insight of what that purchase means for that particular client at that time. And there's probably 25 or 30 other different things that we're looking at from an enhancement standpoint, but just trying to put those in perspective based on feedback that we receive from our current customers. The one thing that we've learned is if we look at purchase services, supply analytics, there's no competitors in the market. That's just the solution that we have that we built for our clients. But for our Capital Spend Insights, there's competitors in the market. They've been doing it for years. There's things that our competitors will never have from a GPO group buy perspective. They won't have insight to that. They won't have insight to our national agreements from pricing or those terms.
There's a couple of key competitors out there in the marketplace. Let's go through how Capital Spend Insights compares to what's available on the market today.
From a competitive standpoint with Capital Spend Insights, our platform is very different. From a clear understanding, from a data set perspective, and this is verified purchases, all the transactions that are happening from our clients daily, supports not just this platform, but other platforms from a spend management perspective as well. When we get into the differentiators between our platform, the data, you also need to touch on our national supplier agreements. That's insight that our competitors don't have. When we're talking about minimum minimum value that a national supplier is offering. In addition to that would be the terms and conditions around freight, warranty, and shipping. Those are very critical because that's a lot of value that potentially is being missed without getting that insight. A lot of our clients are utilizing our competitors. And so this tool, Capital Spend Insights, is a complete replacement of those tools. Now, there are enhancements that we refer to as FDA recall. We're looking at market insights to enhance that section as well. And that's been some feedback that we received from our customers. We feel that from a launch perspective, November 1st to current time, that we put our foot forward with this technology and we continue to have a roadmap to enhance years to come as well.
It sounds like this solution is transforming how capital procurement happens across healthcare systems and organizations as a whole. It's amazing. I'd like to take a quick discovery point for our clients who may be thinking about something to help them with their capital procurement. What are a couple of key takeaways, Mike, for teams that are thinking about a solution to help solve for their capital procurements?
When we talk about Capital Spend Insights, and we've been talking around the data, we've been talking about the GPO compliance. The one piece that I don't think we've touched on yet is total cost of ownership. When we think of capital procurement, it's just not the pieces of equipment they're buying. It's potentially consumables. It's also service. Those pieces of that transaction, that procurement process is considered in that review as well. That way they have a true understanding of really what that total cost of ownership could be for them.
This is the solution that will help organizations on their journey to value.
We're taking a lot of feedback from our clients. There are identified savings from a GPO compliance. What's the minimum value that you should be receiving? Then there's that benchmarking. Based on our situation as Vizient and our relationships with our clients, the ability to have identified actual savings. We get a supplier quote, we do the analysis, they get the report back, and it gives them some direction of saying, hey, I'm getting the minimum, the T's and C's align. But from a benchmarking standpoint, I have the ability to now go back out and talk to the supplier. I feel I should get additional savings based off of what I'm seeing from a benchmarking standpoint. We'll be able to identify that final transaction for them and be able to provide more of an executive overview of what the true savings was, not just for that quote, but all the different procurement activity they've had over a period of time. From a technology standpoint, this is where we have a very unique position in the market. The data differentiator, that's phenomenal. It puts ourselves out there ahead of the other competitors. But from a standpoint of our relationship with our clients is very different than our competitors. The solution overall from a capital equipment solution, it's another solution that we have from a Vizient standpoint, but our relationship is larger than each individual solution. But that's important because we're taking their feedback and saying, we know this is going to help you long term. And it could be configurations or it could be clinical outcomes. Those are the things that are on our roadmap to really get deeper into those. And we are positioned very differently in the market with our clients versus our competitors because of the relationship that they have from a Vizient standpoint.
Thank you so much for those insights, Mike. What kind of advice would you give clients who might be considering Capital Spend Insights? What would be their next steps?
Subscribe. Next steps. If you haven't attended a deep dive education session, those happen once a month. Reach out to our team. We do demonstrations, individual demonstrations by facility. The deep dive educations, that's more of a group setting. Making sure that they understand the differentiators from a data set is extremely important. And that's where we always take the time early on. And if it's an individual or a group setting, we always make sure that we articulate the differentiators outside of the two data sets that we talked about, the user interface, talking about the different benchmark views that we have as well from a verified purchase. That last price paid is extremely important.
Will you be talking about Capital Spend Insights at the upcoming Connection Summit?
I'll be attending Connection Summit this year. If individuals want to schedule time to have individual demos, we'll have the opportunity to do that, or just talk in general about Capital Spend Insights, or even a larger solution from a capital equipment solutions perspective, which is Capital Spend Insights supports our solutions across the board with each of our service lines that supports our clients.
Sounds great, Mike. Thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to us today. I know our clients have gotten a lot of education, and we'll look forward to watching how Capital Spend Insights transforms capital procurement.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to share and hopefully educate today, and super excited just about where we're going to take Capital Spend Insights in the future. So thank you for the time.
Visit us at VizientInc.com or reach out directly to the Capital Equipment Solutions team at capitalequipment@VizientInc.com to dive deeper into capital spend insights and explore additional resources. And don't forget to subscribe to the Capital Compass on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. We're here to help guide your journey to value, one insight at a time. So until next time, thanks for listening.